This isn't a birth date. It's a message from the universe. Pause for a moment, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what if the day I was born wasn't just a coincidence? What if your birth month wasn't just a number but a cosmic signature, etched into time by something far bigger than you? We spend our whole lives trying to find ourselves, chasing purpose, seeking meaning, trying to make sense of who we are. But what if the universe already left us a clue the moment we took our first breath? Carl Jung didn't believe in chance. He believed in synchrony, moments where the universe and your soul shake hands in silence. He spoke of the collective unconscious, a realm where every soul is connected to ancient symbols, patterns, and archetypes. And your birth month, that was your entry point into this mysterious design. This isn't horoscope fluff. This is soul work. This is inner alchemy. This is about understanding the unique energy you were born to carry. The vibration that shapes how you feel, love, how you endure pain, how you lead, and how you heal. Because once you understand your birth month, you begin to understand why certain lessons repeat, why you attract the same energies, why your strengths feel natural, but your struggles feel ancient. It's not just personality, it's not luck, it's encoded purpose. And here's the shift. Once you unlock that code, you stop doubting your journey. You stop comparing your life. You stop begging the world to validate you. Because the moment you align with your true essence, you become magnetic, unshakable, at peace. So before we go any further, take a deep breath. Let the noise fade. Let the ego sit back and just feel. You're not here by mistake. You were born exactly when you needed to be. Not early, not late, but right on time. Because the universe doesn't make random decisions. It makes divine ones. So ask yourself, what was the universe trying to whisper when it brought me into this world? Because what you're about to hear might just awaken the version of you that was buried, not broken, hidden, not missing, called, but not yet answered. And that answer, it begins now. Number 1. January. The one who walks first, even in the dark. You were born at the very beginning, not just of a year, but of energy, of renewal of silence after chaos of hope, being reborn when the world feels heavy with endings. January is not just a month. It's a cosmic reset point, a blank page soaked in the ink of divine timing. While others celebrate the past, you were born into the future, into potential, into pressure, into purpose. You are the initiator, the one who begins when others hesitate. The one who feels the call to move forward even when the path hasn't been paved yet. When everyone else is catching their breath, you're already thinking 10 steps ahead. You see possibilities where others see problems. You walk through fear not because you don't feel it, but because you've learned how to carry it without letting it stop you. And that's your gift, but also your burden. Because being the first means no footsteps to follow. You don't have a map. You become the map. And that means your mistakes are public. Your courage is invisible. And your loneliness, it often hides behind your leadership. People see your strength, but they don't see the pressure. They admire your drive, but don't ask about your doubts. You're expected to inspire, to show up, to be reliable, to never crack, to never need. But here's the truth. No one tells you about being the first. You need rest too. You need reassurance too. You need someone to ask, "Are you okay?" and mean it. Carl Jung once wrote, "A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them." You've walked through that inferno, the fire of responsibility, the pressure of perfection, the ache of silent strength, and still, here you are, still showing up, still leading, still building the road for others, brick by brick. But today, you get to remember something powerful. Leadership is not about carrying everything. It's about carrying what matters most with heart, with clarity, and with grace. It's not about always being right. It's about being real. It's not about always being ahead. It's about knowing when to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. Your energy carries the vibration of beginnings of courage, of clarity, and confusion. But your deeper purpose is not to walk alone, and it's to light the torch and then pass it on. Because your soul didn't come here to be ripped. It came to awaken others to show them what's possible, when you lead not from fear, but from alignment. So to the soul born in January, you are the one who goes first, but you are never forgotten. And your journey isn't about proving anything. It's about becoming everything you already are. Number 2. February. The healer who feels everything. You weren't born with armor. You were born with an open soul. While others were learning how to build walls, you were learning how to hold broken pieces, not just your own, but everyone else's. February isn't just the second month of the year. It's the month of emotional depth, of silence, of unseen energy. And you carry all of it. You don't just hear what people say. You hear what they're afraid to admit. You walk into a room and feel the shift because you are the shift. You're the one who absorbs energy like a sponge. Joy, pain, guilt, love, anger, shame. You carry it all without even realizing it. But that's the beauty of a February soul. You're not loud. You're loud in silence. You're not demanding. You disarm people with your softness. Carl Jung said it perfectly. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But you face it daily. Not just your soul, but the soul of the world. You've been the one others run to. The friend who listens without judgment. The quiet presence who makes people feel safe even if your own heart is breaking. But here's the silent cost of being the healer. You feel everything, but rarely feel seen. You give it, and give her, and give it, until one day your body says, no more. Your soul whispers, what about me? Because somewhere along the way, you started believing that being there for others meant abandoning yourself. But today, we rewrite that narrative. You were not born to be a dumping ground for pain. You were born to be a channel for transformation, a mirror that reflects what's possible, not just what's broken. Your gift isn't just empathy. It's intuition, wisdom, sacred stillness. And here's what no one tells you. You're not selfish for stepping back. You're not wrong for needing space. You're not weak for saying no. In fact, when you protect your peace, you amplify your power. Because true healing doesn't come from burnout. It comes from balance. So to the February-born soul, you are not too sensitive. You are spiritually awake in a world still sleeping. Your sensitivity is not a curse. It's your compass. Your boundaries are not rejection. They are reminders that your energy is sacred and your journey. It's not about fixing others. It's about remembering that healing the world begins with healing yourself first. Number 3. March. The soul who hears what isn't said. March-born souls don't walk through life. They float between dimensions. You don't just live in the world. You live above it, around it, beyond it. You were born in the twilight between seasons. When winter softens its grip and spring begins to breathe, that alone says everything. You are transition energy. You are possibility in motion. You are the sacred bridge between endings and beginnings. You don't just listen to words. You hear what was never said out loud. The silence between sentences, the energy behind eyes, the soul beneath the smile. And that's your superpower. Your vision lives in the invisible. You see beyond logic. You feel beyond rules. You dream in colors this world hasn't even discovered yet. But that gift, it comes at a cost. Because the world doesn't always understand people like you. They call you too sensitive, too dreamy, too unrealistic. They tell you to wake up, not realizing you're already awake. Carl Jung once wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And March, you've always looked inside. You've always known that truth lives not in data, but in feeling, not in form, but in frequency. You believe in love that has no proof, in people who haven't met their potential yet, in beauty that hasn't arrived, but you can already feel it coming. You're the one who keeps imagining a better world, even when reality feels cold. And that's not delusion. That's divine imagination. You weren't born to fit the mold. You were born to melt it. You weren't created to be understood by everyone. You were designed to awaken what the world forgot. Emotion, wonder, depth, meaning spirit. Your soul is a canvas of dreams, a mirror for the unseen, a poem walking in a world addicted to performance. But you'll only step into your power when you stop shrinking. Stop hiding in shallow conversations. Stop apologizing for the way your mind drifts. Your heart aches, your soul listens. Because the world needs more feelers, more visionaries, more people who see not just what is, but what could be. And that's why you're here. Not to be logical, not to play it safe, but to dream and remind others how to feel again, how to feel. You are the soul who hears what isn't said. And when you stop doubting that gift, the world starts to remember what it means to be human again. Number 4. April, the warrior who builds through fire. You didn't come into this world to be passive. You weren't made to tiptoe through life waiting for approval. You came here to ignite, to shake the ground beneath your feet, to move people. Not with noise, but with presence. Aprils don't follow energy. They create it. You are the flame in the silence, the spark in the storm, the heartbeat of movement. Your soul didn't arrive with a plan. It arrived with a mission. To build, to lead, to conquer. Not out of ego, but out of embodied drive. You are action in its purest form. When the world hesitates, you charge forward. When people say it's impossible, you say, "Watch me." But behind that fire, there's a truth most don't see. Because that fire, it doesn't just light up the world. It can burn you from the inside if you're not careful. You move fast, too fast. Sometimes you chase goals with such hunger that you forget the taste of peace. You push so hard to win that you forget why you started the race. You wake up with drive but go to sleep with restlessness. Because when the warrior is always fighting, they forget how to feel. Carl Jung once said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." And that April soul is your mirror. You're trying to live a life of power, but using tools that were built for someone else. The world may hand you formulas, templates, rules, but deep down you know your path can't be copied because you were born to carve your own. And here's the awakening moment. You don't have to run at full speed 24/7 to be worthy. You don't have to constantly be doing to be valuable. Sometimes the most powerful move is to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to ask, am I chasing what I truly want or just what looks impressive on paper? Because your true power isn't in burning bright until you collapse. It's in learning how to channel your fire so it builds, not destroys. You are here to lead, to rise, but also to feel, to love, to rest, to remember that fire doesn't just blaze, it warms, it lights, it gives life. When your passion meets patience, when your fire meets flow, you stop chasing success and you start becoming it. So, to the April-born warrior, you are the builder, the fighter, the fire. But above all, you are a soul learning how to be powerful and peaceful at the same time. And when you master that, nothing can stop you. Number 5, may the architect of inner-outer worlds. You weren't born in chaos. You were born in the middle ground, that space between spring's bloom and summer's fire, a space that calls for balance, for structure, for substance. May-born souls are builders of worlds, but not just outer ones. You build from the inside out with quiet power, with unwavering vision, with a love for things that last. You don't crave spotlight. You crave security, a foundation so solid it can weather any storm, not just for you, but for those you protect. You don't just want a house, you want a home, a sanctuary, a space that feels like belonging. You value loyalty, beauty meaning. You crave stability the way others crave adrenaline. You're not driven by wild risk. You're moved by deep roots, by the promise of peace that stays. But with that deep grounding comes a shadow. Sometimes you hold on too tightly. You resist change. Even when your soul is desperate for something new, you cling to what once felt safe even when it has stopped growing. Carl Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." And that resistance and that fear of letting go can quietly turn into your prison. Because in your desire to preserve peace, you may be postponing your own evolution. But here's your truth, my soul. You weren't born to just protect. You were born to expand. You are not weak for fearing change, but you become powerful the moment you lean into it anyway. Letting go doesn't mean you've lost. It means you trust your own hands to rebuild. You are not fragile. You are the architect of both comfort and courage, of grounded love and quiet rebellion. When you stop clinging, you start creating, and you realize what falls away was never your foundation. What stays is what you were always meant to stand on. So, to the Mayborn soul, your stability is your strength. Your stillness is your wisdom, but your growth. It lives just beyond the edge of your comfort. You are not here to merely survive routines. You are here to build a life so beautiful it feels like coming home to yourself. Number 6. June. The seeker who refuses to stay still. You were born in the season of motion. When the days grow longer, when light touches everything, when nature explodes with life unapologetically, uncontrollably, fearlessly, and so do you. June are not here to follow the script. You are the questioners, the rebels, the souls who look at the world and whisper, "There's more." You don't just exist. You seek. You chase ideas like fireflies. You crave conversations that stretch your mind. You travel through books, cities, beliefs, and philosophies, looking not just for knowledge, but for understanding. You don't care about checking boxes. You care about touching life with both hands, fully, deeply, honestly. Your curiosity is not just mental, it's spiritual. You want to know what's behind the surface, what lies beyond the obvious, what the soul is trying to say when the mouth stays quiet. But here's the paradox of your gift. In your desire to taste everything, you sometimes finish nothing. You run from boredom, but sometimes you run from depth, too. You're afraid of being trapped, of being labeled, of being stuck in a version of yourself that no longer fits. So you move and move and move. But even momentum can become a mask. Even freedom can become a cage when it's not rooted in meaning. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." And that's your ache, isn't it? You're surrounded by life, but sometimes feel like no one truly gets you. Not because they don't care, but because your thoughts move too fast. Your soul goes too deep. Your heart stretches across too many galaxies at once. You want to share what's inside, but how do you explain a universe that's still unfolding? Here's your truth. June soul, you are not too much. You are just multidimensional, and you don't need to quiet your fire. You need to focus it. Because your curiosity is your gift, but your intention is your compass. When you stop scattering your energy across every possibility and start channeling it into what truly matters, that's when you transform from a wanderer into a visionary, from a seeker into a creator. You are not here to be tamed, but you are here to be anchored. And that anchor won't come from the outside. It will rise from within. So don't fear stillness. It's not your enemy. It's the place where your motion finds its meaning. You are not lost. You are in motion, and one day soon you will land. And when you do, you won't just explore the world. You'll help others understand it. Number 7. July. The heart that holds the world. You were not born to be loud. You were born to be felt. While others learn to fight with their fists, you learn to fight with your heart. Born under the soft glow of the moon. A time when the world quiets, emotions rise, and the unseen becomes felt. You, July soul, carry a different kind of strength. A strength that whispers instead of screams, that heals instead of harms, that holds instead of pushes. Your gift is your depth. You feel things that others dismiss. You see the small changes in tone. You notice the look in someone's eyes when their words say, "I'm fine," but their soul is screaming. You're the one who always knows even when no one says a word, because you don't just hear, you listen, you don't just care. You carry. You hold the pieces of others without asking for credit, applause, or even acknowledgement. You just do it because it's who you are. You are the nurturer, the protector, the emotional anchor in a world that's forgotten how to feel. You make others feel safe, not because you speak loudly, but because your presence says you can fall apart here. I'll catch you. But here's the silent truth about you. No one knows how many times you've cried in secret, how many nights you stayed awake holding everyone else's pain and forgot to acknowledge your own. No one sees how deeply you long to be held, to be understood, to be protected. In the very way you do for others every single day, because your shadow is self-eraser. You give so much that you slowly disappear. You support everyone, but wonder, does anyone see me? Would they still love me if I wasn't useful? You show up for people even when you're breaking because you don't want to be a burden, because you believe being needed is the same as being loved. But it's not. And this is where your healing begins. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And who you truly are is not just the caretaker, not just the emotional support, not just the glue that holds everyone together. You are a soul with needs, with desires, with dreams, with boundaries. You are a human being, not a never-ending well of energy for others to drink from. And hear this loud. You do not have to bleed to prove your love. You do not have to shrink to make others feel whole. You do not have to suffer silently to deserve peace. You are not selfish for wanting space. You are not too much for feeling deeply. You are not weak for needing to be held. Sometimes you are sacred. And when you finally begin to love yourself with the same unconditional devotion you offer others, everything changes. But you are not here to be everyone's safe place at the cost of your own. You are here to build a world where you too feel seen, valued, held. Because when a heart like yours turns inward, it doesn't stop giving. It starts healing. And a healed heart, that's the most unstoppable force in the universe. Number 8, August. The sun that shines even in darkness. You didn't come into this world quietly. You entered with fire in your spirit and radiance in your bones. August isn't just summer's peak, it's presence. It's the sun refusing to dim even as the world begins to cool. And that's you. Unapologetically bold, unmistakably magnetic, unshakably visible. You are the kind of person who walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere. People turn, people watch, people expect. Not because you seek attention, but because your energy demands it. You were born with leadership coded into your soul. You speak, and people listen. You move, and others follow. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. But here's the truth. The world doesn't see. Sometimes that spotlight feels more like a weight than a gift. Because when you shine this brightly, everyone expects you to never dim, to always be on, to always inspire, always uplift, always perform. And so, somewhere along the way, you began to wonder, if I stop performing, will I still be loved? If I rest, will they still see my worth? Your light became a currency. Your validation became your fuel. And slowly, your fire started to flicker, not from weakness, but from overexposure. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And here's your awakening. You don't need applause to exist. You don't need admiration to be enough. You don't need to impress, because you were born to illuminate. Your soul didn't come here to entertain the world. It came to remind it of its own light. True leadership, real, authentic, soul-led leadership is not about staying in the spotlight. It's about knowing when to step back, to recharge, to lead from within. Because confidence that comes from performance is fragile, but confidence that comes from truth, that's unshakable. You were not born to be liked. You were born to be aligned. And the moment your light becomes an extension of your inner wholeness, you stop chasing attention and start attracting purpose. You begin to draw in people who love your quiet, not just your sparkle, who see your strength in your silence, not just your speech, who stand by your shadow, not just your sun. So to the august soul, you are not fire for others to warm their hands. You are a source, not a show. And your worth doesn't come from being seen. It comes from knowing who you are, even when no one's watching. You shine not for validation. You shine because it's your nature. And when you stop performing, when you finally step into stillness, you realize the sun doesn't beg to be seen. It just rises. And so will you. Number 9. September. The master craftsman of the soul. You don't just observe life, you study it. You were born with the eyes of a watchmaker and the soul of a philosopher. September isn't loud, it's intentional. It's the month where the world shifts from chaos to clarity, where the seasons begin to fold inward, where the air becomes crisp and the world feels cleaner, more aware. And that's exactly who you are. You're not just smart, you're sharp. You see what others miss. The subtle crack in a smile, the missed comma in a sentence, the hesitation in someone's voice when they say they're fine. You notice the details because to you, details matter. You were born to refine and not to rush. You believe in excellence, not to compete, but because your soul is wired for integrity. You take pride in getting it right. You give your full energy to things other people do halfway. And whether it's your art, your words, your work, or your relationships, you care maybe too much, but that's your magic and also your shadow. Because behind your brilliance is a silent burden perfection. You carry the weight of shoulds. You hold yourself to invisible standards that no one else can see, but somehow you can't escape them. You fix things before others notice they're broken. You polish every sentence before speaking. You rehearse double-check second guesses because in your mind being prepared is how you protect yourself. Carl Jung once said, "Shame is a soul-eating emotion." And here's the hard truth. Sometimes your perfectionism isn't about pride. It's about shame. The shame of feeling not enough. The shame of being seen failing. The shame of being human in a world where you feel expected to be flawless. You criticize yourself before the world ever gets a chance to. You overthink your emotions. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You carry everyone else's expectations like their law. But here's your awakening. September soul. Your worth is not in your flawless execution. It's not in how perfectly you perform, show up, or deliver. Your worth is in your devotion, your honesty, your care, your consistency. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more presence. It needs people like you to breathe, to allow the comma to be off sometimes, to allow the painting to remain unfinished, to allow the plan to shift without shame. Because your gift is not in control. It's in careful creation. It's in the way you elevate everything you touch. It's in how deeply you feel responsible, not out of ego, but out of love. But here's your freedom. You don't need to prove your worth through productivity. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to justify being tired. You are allowed to just be. And when you give yourself that permission, your entire life shifts. You go from being your harshest critic to becoming your own greatest advocate, from being the fixer of everything to someone who lets life be messy sometimes and still feels worthy. Progress is your true power, not perfection, not performance. Progress because the masterpiece of your life won't be that one moment when everything went right. It'll be the day you looked in the mirror and whispered, "I don't need to be flawless to be free." So to the September soul, yes, you are brilliant. Yes, your standards are high. Yes, your mind is built like a blueprint for greatness. But you are not a machine. You are a masterpiece in motion. And the moment you honor your humanity that's the moment your precision becomes peace. Number 10. October. The peacemaker with a warrior's soul. You were born in the balance point of the year when the light and dark meet. When the world exhales after summer's heat and pauses before winter's cold. And that's exactly who you are. The soul that lives between extremes. The one who bridges chaos and calm, logic and emotion, people and purpose. You weren't just born under Libra skies. You were born to restore alignment in a misaligned world. October are the peacemakers, but not because you're afraid of conflict. Because your spirit knows the cost of division. You believe in justice, in fairness, in listening before judging. You're the one who mediates comforts, finds the middle, gives the benefit of the doubt, not because it's easy, but because you feel everything. You don't just want people to get along. You want them to feel seen, understood, held safe. You crave peace, but not the fake kind where truth is avoided. You crave the kind that comes after the storm. The peace that's earned through honesty, vulnerability, and courage. But here's the cost of being everyone's anchor. In the process of keeping everyone else balanced, you lose your own footing. You bend until your back aches. You say yes when your soul is begging for no. You stay neutral not because you don't care, but because you care too much about how others will feel. You give parts of yourself away piece by piece until one day you look in the mirror and wonder, what do I want? Who am I when I'm not helping someone else? Carl Jung once said, "A man who has not passed through the chaos of his own soul can never lead others out of theirs." And that's your turning point because you are not here to keep everyone comfortable. You are here to walk through your own chaos so you can become a light for others in theirs. You are not just soft. You are strong enough to feel everything and still stand. You are not just diplomatic. You are a truth teller who can bring peace without sacrificing your voice. True harmony does not come from silence. It comes from speaking your truth even when your voice trembles, even when it disappoints someone, even when it shifts the balance you've worked so hard to keep. Because when you betray yourself to please others, that's not peace, and that's self-eraser. But when you speak from your soul with honesty, grace, and firmness, that's when you become what you were born to be. The calm and the storm, the mirror and the movement, the healer and the revolution. So, to the October soul, you were never here to disappear in the middle. You were here to be the bridge between, to unify without losing yourself, to understand others deeply, without abandoning your own depth. You are not just here to balance others. You are here to live in balance with yourself. And when you honor your own needs, you don't become selfish. You become powerful. Because the world doesn't need another people-pleaser. It needs a truth speaker with a heart soft enough to love and a soul strong enough to lead. Number 11. November, the phoenix who rises from ashes. November doesn't enter loudly. It arrives with stillness, with wind, with falling leaves, with the silence that says something is dying, but something deeper is being born. That's the essence of your soul. If you were born in November, you didn't come here to float on the surface. You came to dive into the abyss. You came to explore what others run from. Pain, truth, darkness, the soul. You weren't made for small talk or shallow relationships. You crave intensity, depth, meaning. You want to look someone in the eyes and say, "Show me who you really are." Because you've spent your whole life trying to figure out who you really are. You are the transformer, the alchemist, the one who can sit in the fire and come out glowing. But here's what people don't see. Your power was born from pain. Your wisdom, it came from falling apart more times than you can count. Your strength forged in silence. Your resilience built in shadows. Because your soul didn't just inherit light, it inherited darkness too. Jung once said, "The most dangerous psychological mistake is the projection of the shadow onto others." And that is your biggest battle, because when you repress what you refuse to face, it leaks out in control. Jealousy, rage, fear, you start trying to dominate everything around you, because you feel like everything inside you is out of control. You're not evil, you're not broken, you're just carrying generational intensity, and your mission is to own it, feel it, transmute it. You are not here to escape the fire. You are the phoenix. You burn, you collapse. You destroy old versions of yourself with terrifying honesty. But then you rise. You rise higher, clearer, brighter, bolder than before. You become the one who not only heals their own wounds, but walks others through the dark night of their soul. You are the one people fear when they don't understand you and run to when they finally do, because you see things they don't. You feel the truth hiding behind the words. You know when someone's smiling through trauma because you've done the same. You have faced the mirror and didn't look away. So now your path isn't to chase peace. It's to embody it, to hold both the darkness and the light and become whole, to not shame the shadow but to integrate it, to use it as fuel, not chains. So to the November soul, you are not just a survivor. You are a rebuilder, a mystic, a healer, a spiritual warrior. Your transformation is your legacy. You were not born to fit in. You were born to set fire to what no longer serves you and rise again and again until your wings no longer carry pain but power. Number 12. December, the visionary who sees beyond time. You were born in the final chapter not just of the year, but of a cycle, and with that comes wisdom. December souls are old souls, timeless, deep. You weren't born to chase trends. You were born to carry truth. You see life from a higher place, not above others, but beyond the moment. While the world rushes, you reflect. While others seek success, you seek significance. You ask the questions most people avoid. What does this mean? Why am I really here? What legacy will I leave behind? You have a gift for perspective. You see the mountain while others see the climb. You can zoom out when emotions zoom in. You're a natural philosopher, a spiritual strategist, someone who feels deeply but leads with clarity. But here's the paradox. With all your wisdom, you often feel alone. Because not everyone's ready for the kind of depth you bring. You've learned to hold back, to dim down, to fit in with shallow conversations, even when your soul is craving connection that cracks something open. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." And December, you were born to awaken. But sometimes awakening feels like isolation. You're the one who sees through the mask, but no one's ready to take theirs off. You're the one who speaks of dreams, destiny, and depth. But the world wants comfort, not change. So you shrink. You silence. You scroll, wondering if you're too much or if they're just not enough. As not. But here's your truth. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to inspire them. You were not born to settle into the world's expectations. You were born to expand them. You are a soul that holds ancient wisdom and future vision at the same time. You are not the echo. You are the voice. You are not the audience. You are the author. And your story isn't about doing what's popular. It's about doing what's purposeful. So, to the December soul, you are not late. You are not behind. You are not out of place. You are exactly where time bends and meaning begins. You are the lighthouse for others. But don't forget to turn that light inward. You are not just a guide for others. You are a seeker too. You deserve the same truth, clarity, and love you offer everyone else. Because when a December soul fully accepts themselves without rushing, without hiding, without shrinking, they don't just see the future, they become it. This is your awakening, not entertainment. If even a single line from this video stirred something inside you, a memory, a shiver, a strange sense that, wait, this is about me. That wasn't an accident. That was your soul remembering. Remembering who you were before the world labeled you, before the noise, the numbness, the distractions, before you started hiding your truth to keep others comfortable. Because the truth is, you didn't come here to survive. You came here to awaken your gifts, to awaken your voice, to awaken the version of you that the world made you forget. Carl Jung once wrote, "We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life." This video, it was one of those disguises, a digital message disguised as content. But really, it was a mirror. It was your reminder. It was a spark meant to reignite what this world tried to silence. You didn't click this by chance. Your timing was divine because your soul was ready. So now what? Don't scroll away. Don't treat this like entertainment. This was activation. Comment your birth month below, not just to join a trend, but to declare your return. Comment, "I claim my energy. I activate my purpose." Let the world feel your presence. Let the algorithm feel your truth. Hit like, not for vanity, but to anchor this awakening in your digital timeline. Let this video mark the moment something changed inside you. Subscribe only if you're ready to go deeper. If you're done with surface-level advice, motivational noise, and recycled wisdom, subscribe if you're ready for content that doesn't just inspire you, but transforms you from the inside out. And lastly, share this video with someone who's been walking through life quietly breaking. Someone who's been doubting their worth. Someone who's forgotten their birth wasn't random. It was divinely coded. Because in this chaotic world, sometimes all it takes is a single reminder, a single message, a single voice saying you were meant for more. And maybe today you were born to be that reminder for them. So send it, share it, be the mirror for someone else. Because when one soul remembers who they are, it creates a ripple. And you, my friend, you are the ripple, the wave, the fire. Now go and awaken the world. The end, but your beginning starts